It is essential to be up to date on happenings around you, and to make that easy for you, ladies and gentlemen, we present Freshlight, where we bring fresh newspaper headlines to the limelight. Mondays to Saturdays, 8:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Al-IyamoyeTv and radio. Watch, like, subscribe, and make sure your notification is activated on our YouTube channel. You can also like and comment on our pages on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Al-IyamoyeTv and radio.
Another blessed morning right here at Al-IyamoyeTv and radio, and I'm sure it is a bright morning from wherever you are watching us live on Facebook at Al-IyamoyeTv and radio. Trust me, we are always committed to grace your view with great content, to keep you abreast of happenings, to discuss interactive and topical issues right here on Al-IyamoyeTv and radio. So welcome to a fresh episode, the midweek edition of Freshlight on Al-IyamoyeTv and radio, where we take you through different stories we have in the different newspapers we've brought to the studio this beautiful morning. Today, the 4th day in the month of May 2023. Welcome once again to Freshlight. My name is MODUPE AKINYOSOYE. Do me the honor to take you through different stories in our different newspapers this morning. And with me in the studio, I have the Vanguard newspaper, I have the Daily Trust, I have Nigerian Tribune, and I have the Punch newspaper. We go through the different stories we have there, and let's see what's happening around you. All right, we'll start with the Daily Trust newspaper and check through the stories and headlines we have in the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper. From the front page, we have a headline revealing on Senate presidency, Akpabio Yaris scramble for PDP senators, with double riders also surfacing in the front page. Opposition representative-elect meets strategize to produce speaker. APC National Working Committee meets today. You'll find that story on page 4 in the Daily Trust newspaper. Also from the Daily Trust, the front page, taking us to Sudan on Sudan crisis. First batch of stranded Nigerians may return today. Also, you get that on page 24 in the Daily Trust newspaper. Away from that, we also have representatives hot $700 million Capital Fund disbursement and summoned Nimasa Director General. You get that story from page 19 in Daily Trust newspaper. Away from that, we also have Al-Sheyi Tinubu bought London mansion for $10.8 million. Report revealing that from page 3 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Also away from that, we have an headline from the front page. 2 months after elections, customs officers yet to get allowances. So the rest of our story on page 25 in the Daily Trust. Suspended Andamawa Rek arrested. You also get the details of that on page 10 in the Daily Trust newspaper. Away from that, we also have government not responsible for job creation. Presidency also revealing that from the Daily Trust, and the page 3 is gracing that story. 27 days to hand over. Tambowa appoints 23 permanent secretary, 15 director generals. Page 6 of the Daily Trust newspaper as the story, and taking you through a couple of stories from the Daily Trust newspaper right here. Taking this story from let's see, away from the rest of the story we have here. All right, from the Daily Trust on Sudan crisis, first batch of stranded Nigerians may return today. There are indications that a number of Nigerian evacuees from crisis-torn Sudan may arrive in Nigeria today. Nigeria authorities have refused to announce any date of the evacuees' arrival. However, developments in Egypt and Port Sudan have indicated that the first batch of Nigerian evacuees may arrive either in Abuja or Lagos today. The evacuees who left Khartoum last Wednesday and had been stranded at the Egyptian border for 6 days finally got the nod of the Egyptian authorities on Monday to proceed on their journey. On the Sudan crisis, first batch of stranded Nigerians may return today. The rest of that from the Daily Trust newspaper. Also from the Daily Trust, we have a statement credited or a story, a report from River State, revealing that Wike declares public holiday and orders shutdown of businesses as Tinubu visits Rivers. River State Governor Nyesom Wike has declared Wednesday, that is today, as a public holiday to enable the people of River State give the president-elect Bola Tinubu a rousing welcome. The president-elect, during his 2-day official visit to River State, is scheduled to commission the Rumo-Kuta flyover and the ultra-modern magistrate court complex, Port Harcourt, on Wednesday and Thursday. Wike, in a state broadcast on Tuesday, that was yesterday, said during Tinubu's presidential campaign visit to River State, he had indicated intention to have him commission some strategic projects in the state after the general election. And he said a formal invitation was sent to the president-elect after the general election, to which he graciously accepted. Wike declares public holiday, orders shutdown of businesses as Tinubu visits Rivers. Unfortunately, there is no holiday in Ogun State. That is from River State. Away from that, we also have an update from the health pages of Daily Trust. Nigeria to conduct Lassa fever vaccine clinical trials. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention says it is working with partners to conduct clinical trials for the Lassa fever vaccine in the country. NCDC Director General Ifedayo Adetifa stated this on Tuesday in Abuja during the Lassa fever research colloquium and workshop organized by the NCDC in collaboration with University College London and John Hopkins Program for International Education in Gynecology and Obstetrics, and it was themed Lassa fever research and policy for a changing world. Nigeria to conduct Lassa fever vaccine clinical trials. The rest of that also in the Daily Trust newspaper. And also Daily Trust decided to give us a quick trip to the United Kingdom on Inquiry Matters Matter. Representatives beg UK courts government for mercy. The House of Representatives on Tuesday appealed to the Central Criminal Court, United Kingdom, and the government of the UK to temper justice with mercy in sentencing Senator Ike Ekweremadu and wife Beatrice over the organ trafficking offense. The House also asked the federal government of Nigeria to take all diplomatic steps and other necessary interventions regarding the travails of the Ekweremadus. The resolution also followed the adoption of an urgent motion of public importance by the House Deputy Minority Leader Toby Okechukwu, PDP, in Enugu. The rest of that also in the Daily Trust. The Ekweremadus representative beg UK court government for mercy. You get that details right there in the Daily Trust. Away from that, we are back to Nigeria with the Joint Admission Matriculation Board giving an update that JAMB releases 2023 UTME results. Here is how to check. The Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, has released the result of the 2023 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination UTME conducted between Tuesday and Monday. The board noted that the released results excluded those of those candidates who could not or who were rescheduled to take their examinations on Saturday. You get the details of that report right there in the Daily Trust newspaper, and also given details. It said the results of those absent and those under investigation, as well as those of visually impaired candidates, were undergoing processing. JAMB spokesperson Dr. Fabian Benjamin, in a statement released on Tuesday evening, that was yesterday evening, said a total of 1,595,779 candidates had registered to take the examination in 708 CBT centers in 105 examination towns in the country. To whom it may concern, JAMB releases 2023 UTME result. The details of that you will find in the Daily Trust newspaper. Away from the Daily Trust, let's see what we have in the Vanguard newspaper and go through the different headlines, prominent headlines in the front page of the Vanguard newspaper. From the front page, we have couple of headlines right here. No regrets declaring Binani winner, says Adamawa Reg. That statement credited to the suspended Adamawa Reg. Page 5 has the details to that story from the business headline right here on the front page. CBN to audit e-payment system, watch list 572 bank customers. You get that story from page 19 in the Vanguard newspaper. Away from that, we also have Buhari okay's partial exclusion of Finance Ministry from TSA. Page 4 as the details of the story. Zenith Bank's shareholders approve 100.47 billion naira dividends. You also get that business story from page 20 in the Vanguard newspaper. World Press Freedom Day, NGE task incoming government on safety of journalists. That rest of the story will be found on page 8 in the Vanguard. Shibajo, symbol of national unity, say Buhari, Gowon, governors and others. Page 26 also carries and graces the story to the headline. Abia's assembly boys as 2 speakers emerge. Page 24, you get the story. Away from that, despite National Working Committee's intervention, APC insists on suspension of National Vice Chair and Secretary. You also get that details on page 9 in the Vanguard newspaper. Also from the front page, we have the Kweromadu also resurfacing in the front page. Temper justice with mercy. Representatives ECOWAS Parliament urge UK government. The rest of that, if interested, is on page 11 in the Vanguard. Also, Vanguard newspaper also took us to Sudan. Second batch of Nigerian evacuees arrived Port Sudan. Page 9 has the details of the story. NSIA launches 2 companies to deliver healthcare plan. Page 8 has the story to the headline. And from the sports pages, sport headline, we have at the front page, 2023 Under-17 AFCON, Gusau charges Eaglet to overpower Morocco. You also get to enjoy the rest of our story on page 29 in the Vanguard newspaper. And let's go through a couple of headlines from the Vanguard news stories and take some of the bodies from the Vanguard newspaper. Now we have a statement credited to the suspended reg, the resident electoral commissioner of Adamawa State, saying that no regret declaring Binani winner, says Adamawa Reg. The suspended Adamawa State resident electoral commissioner, Mr. Hudu Yunusa Hari, has been arrested by police in Abuja. He was picked up yesterday, 15 days after the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) petitioned the Inspector General of Police to arrest and prosecute him for declaring Senator Aishatu Ahmed Binani of the All Progressives Congress (APC) the winner of the Adamawa State governorship election, while the results were still being collated. Yunusa Hari's arrest came shortly after he declared that he had no regrets after declaring the APC governorship candidate's winner in controversial circumstances. And the police, in a statement by the Force Public Relations Officer, CSP Muyiwa Dejobi, confirmed the arrest of the suspended Reg, who was declared wanted over the Adamawa governorship poll controversy. To get more details to that, it is in the Vanguard newspaper. No regret declaring Binani winner. That's not coming from me. It is coming from the suspended resident electoral commissioner of Adamawa. Away from that, we also have from the Vanguard newspaper statement credited to the outgoing president of this great country, Buhari, saying, "We have fulfilled our promise of change to Nigerians," says Buhari. President Muhammadu Buhari said his administration has fulfilled the promise of change to Nigerians. Buhari stated this on Tuesday when he presented keys to some new homeowners of the Federal Housing Authority, Zuba, in the Federal Capital Territory, FCT. The president, in a speech at the inauguration of an estate, which covers a total of 18.5 hectares of land consisting of 748 units of various house types in 75 blocks urged the beneficiaries to live together in peace and harmony. We fulfilled our promise of change to Nigerians, says Buhari. The Vanguard newspaper as the rest of the story. Away from that, we also have a story from Wike right here. Wike threatens to dethrone monarchs that allow criminality in their domains. Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State has vowed to unseat traditional rulers whose domains elevate violence, cultism, and sundry criminality in the state. At yesterday's presentation of instruments of office to 33 government-recognized traditional rulers at Government House, Port Harcourt, Wike charged Rivers monarchs to ensure no child was out of school in their domains. The government recognition involved for third class, 27 second class, 4 third class, 27 second class, and 2 first class twos. The rest about also in the Vanguard newspaper. Wike threatens to dethrone monarchs that allow criminality in their domains. Quickly taking this one too from the Vanguard newspaper. An update from the Director General of NAFDAC saying Indomie special chicken flavor not registered by NAFDAC. Director General of the National Agency for Food, Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, yesterday gave more details on the ban on Indomie instant noodles, disclosing that a particular flavor of the brand, that is the special chicken flavor, was not registered by the agency for sale in Nigeria. And Adeyeye, while throwing more light on the banned product, as the agency commenced the random sampling and analysis of Indomie noodles, including the seasoning, for the presence of ethylene oxide, also assured Nigerians of a thorough investigation of a product both at the factory and market levels. In a statement made available to Vanguard, Adeyeye added that the outcome of the sampling and analysis of the product would be made public. For the consumers of this particular product, you have consent to this report from the Director General of NAFDAC saying Indomie special chicken flavor not registered by NAFDAC. We'll quickly go on this short break. We'll come back to take you through more stories and headlines in our newspapers. Stay locked on Al-IyamoyeTv and radio. Good morning.
Thousands have been disappointed severally in the B2C greener pasture abroad. To those quack in the traveling agency business, it is a rocket science. That is not our case at Tausa on how to successfully, without stress, help you process and secure your visa to anywhere in the world. Do you want permanent residential visa, visiting and tourism visa, student visa to places like Europe, America, Asia, Africa? Us at Tausaf Travels on Tour. Our years of experience and expertise, let's process for you and Canada, and we offer eyes to our Muslim faithfuls. What are you waiting for? Consult us at number 9 Tausaf Central Mall, Sholanke Street, Roy Hotel, Abiola Way, Abeokuta. 0802-733-0900 or 578-4060. Stop wasting money. Pay for peace of mind. Talk to Tausaf Travels and Tour. Thousands hourly in the B2C greener pasture abroad.
House of Zion. Of Zion. The name I know when we talk quality materials and class. House of Zion. Letima Rojulowo Turkey wears. Egypt and Malaysia clothing. Dubai. Àwọn the bags lóríṣiríṣi. Àwọn ìtẹ̀lẹ̀ bàtà tó jìnnà tí wọ́n fa wọ original ṣe. Àwọn ago kájọ tó ń kájọ. Designer sunglasses àwọn gbogbo nǹkan tóbìnrin àsìkò fi ń gbafẹ́ ló gbà. Mo débẹ̀ ó tàmí kámi èmi ni ó rà èmi ni ó mú gbogbo ẹ̀yin mùsùlùmí tẹ́ gbòógè gbọ́n pa fashion tẹ́ wá nílò jàlábíà ìjáàb àti àbáyà lóríṣiríṣi. House of Zion wà ní 52 adjacent Redeemed Church Agape Parish Òkúta. Lórí Instagram House of Zion 081656618. House of Zion ilé ìtajà ojúlówó aṣọ àti nǹkan aṣaralóge.
Thank you so much. You're still on to Freshlight on Al-IyamoyeTv and radio, still taking you through different stories, headlines from different newspapers this beautiful morning on Freshlight. Okay, let's pick the Nigerian Tribune newspaper and take you through a couple of stories from the Nigerian Tribune. I have here with me, Buhari excludes Ministry of Finance from TSA. With barely 28 days before he leaves office on May 29, President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the partial exclusion of the Ministry of Finance Incorporated from the Treasury Single Account, that's the TSA. He has also granted the request of the board of MOIFI to charge management and transaction fees and inclusion of the Minister of Power in the Governing Council. And these were contained in a statement issued on Tuesday by Femi Adesina, Special Advisor to the President, Media and Publicity. It said the President who convened the approval at the first Governing Council meeting of MOFI record that the new MOFI was launched on February 1, 2023 to transform it from a registry of investment records to a world-class assets and investments management company. The rest of that from the business page of Nigerian Tribune. Buhari excludes Ministry of Finance from TSA. Away from that, we also have from the Nigerian Tribune newspaper, a statement credited to Buhari also revealing, my administration gave Nigerian journalists unfettered freedom to practice. President Muhammadu Buhari has rejoiced with the media on the occasion of World Press Freedom Day, celebrated every May 3 internationally. A statement issued on Tuesday by Femi Adesina, a special advisor to the President, Media and Publicity, noted that this year's celebration marks 30 years since the United Nations General Assembly's decision proclaiming an International Day for Press Freedom. President Buhari said the landmark is a tribute to media professionals who risk their lives to keep society informed and educated. The rest of that also you get from the Nigerian Tribune. My administration gave Nigerian journalists unfettered freedom to practice, says Buhari. And also from the Nigerian Tribune newspaper, we have the 10th NAS. Right here, PDP opposition members elect split over zoning of speaker and deputy positions, with the rider revealing as PDP caucus meets party acting chairman, National Working Committee members. Fact emerged on Tuesday that members-elect who constituted the minority caucuses in the 10th House of Representatives are divided over the ruling party's zoning arrangements for the positions of the Speaker and Deputy Speaker of the 10th Assembly. At the inauguration of the pressure group called Joint Task, 10th Assembly held at the Transcorp Hilton, Abuja, which started around 2:20 p.m. About 60 lawmakers from the All Progressives Congress, APC, and the 7 opposition parties were in attendance. On the other hand, other PDP members-elect who were reportedly opposed to the APC zoning arrangements attended the PDP caucus meeting scheduled for 2 p.m. at Transcorp Hilton, Abuja, with the acting national chairman, Ambassador Umar Damagu, and other members of the PDP National Working Committee, NWC. And the meeting was also attended by a handful of members-elect drawn from the 6 minority parties, namely Labour Party, LP, New Nigeria People's Party, NPP, All Progressive Grand Alliance, AFGA, Social Democratic Party, SDP, African Democratic Congress, ADC, and Young Progressives Party, YPP. On the 10th National Assembly, PDP opposition members-elect split over zoning of Speaker and Deputy positions. Also from the Nigerian Tribune, we have the World Asthma Day. Over 70% of Nigerians with asthma risk dying due to poor control. A report here revealing that President of the Nigerian Society of Asthmatics, University College Hospital branch, Professor Olusoji, says over 100,000 Nigerians have asthma disease and about 75% of them risk dying from the disease due to poor asthma control. Ige, a chest physician who spoke at a rally to commemorate World Asthma Day with the theme Asthma Care for All at the Bodija Market, Ibadan, said asthma, a condition involving the airway, may cause difficulty breathing, chest pain, and cough and wheezing, and when poorly controlled, could become deadly and result to death unexpectedly. According to him, poor control of asthma symptoms in Nigeria mostly occurs when many people cannot assess the severity of their symptoms very well, and many people don't use their inhalers appropriately, while deaths occur when they don't use appropriate inhalers when an asthma attack happens. So whom it may concern. From the else pages of the Nigerian Tribune, World Asthma Day. Over 75% of Nigerians with asthma risk dying due to poor control. Away from that, let's see stories we have in the Punch newspaper and go through the front page of the Punch newspaper this morning. From the front page, we have Tinubu's victory. Legal battle begins on Monday as tribunal hears petition. With double riders also surfacing, APC expresses readiness, says it is aware of hearing date. PDP Atiku will emerge victorious. Legal team tells Nigerians. Page 2 of the Punch newspaper as the story. On external debt, federal government deducts 78 billion naira from state allocation to the business story. You will find in the page 17, on page 17 of the Punch newspaper. Controversial Adamawa wreck, detained, insists Binani won poll. You get the rest of that story from the page 8 of the Punch newspaper. Away from that, we also have a report also resurfacing in the front page of the Punch newspaper on deadly noodles. NAFDAC takes probe to factories and markets. Page 27 has the details to that very story. Evacuated Nigerians stranded at Egypt's border. Bajabi Amila others probe. You also get that details in the Punch newspaper. Away from that, we also have an headline: 792 Nigerians abducted in first quarter. Reports revealing that from page 3 in the Punch newspaper. Also, Ogun representative-elect activates clash in traffic over broken car mirror. Page 415 has the details to the story. I have delivered on change agenda, says Buhari. You get the details of the story on page 2 in the Punch newspaper. And quickly going through a couple of the news from the Punch newspaper, we have on Tinubu's victory. Legal battle begins Monday as tribunal hears petitioned. The presidential election petitions court has fixed Monday for the hearing of the petitions challenging the declaration of the All Progressives Congress, I beg your pardon, Standard Bearer, Bola Tinubu as the president-elect. With this development, the expected legal battle by candidates disputing the outcome of the 2023 presidential poll will commence from May 8th. The National Legal Advisor of the All Progressives Congress, Ahmad El-Mazouk, confirmed the date to the Punch on Tuesday. He said the APC legal team had been briefed and was ready to defend the party's mandates. And also a top official of the Election Petitions Tribunal affirmed that the hearing proceedings would start on Monday. From the Punch newspaper, Tinubu's victory. Legal battle begins Monday as tribunal hears petition. Also away from that, we have from the business page of the Punch newspaper. Livestock accounts for over 40% of global agri GDP, says federal government. The livestock sub-sector accounts for more than 40% of the global agricultural gross domestic product. Dr. Ernest Umakiye, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, has said, and he said the subsector also provides more than 33% of the world protein intake. He stated this on Tuesday at the opening of a training for farmers on the utilization of low-grade grains. However, noted that the utilization of the cheapest and most available livestock feed was a major challenge facing farmers in Nigeria. And the Permanent Secretary was represented by Mrs. Winnie Lai Sholari, Director, Animal Husbandry Services, Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. And he listed the cheap feed resources to include crop residues, rice, maize, groundnut, and cassava byproducts, animal processing waste, and brewery waste, among others. From the business page of the Punch, livestock accounts for over 40% of global agri GDP, says federal government. Away from that, move to the Metro page of the Punch newspaper. The story revealing that jealous Lagos woman kills pregnant co-wife. A 42-year-old woman, Fatima Rahman, from Chad Republic, has been remanded to the Ikoyi Custodian Center for the alleged murder of a co-wife, Adizat, at a residence in the Aleja Street, Ijede, in the Korodu area of Lagos State. Fatima was arraigned on Tuesday before Magistrate Nwaka PE at a magistrate court sitting in Yaba on one count of murder. She was said to have been angry when she learned that her husband had married another wife. She reportedly visited the pregnant woman in a residence under the guise of being a nurse and stabbed her to death. A neighbor of the deceased who saw her from when she arrived at the residence was said to have indicted her after deep wounds were found on the deceased's neck and head. And according to the prosecutor, Thomas Nuruddin, the defendants committed the offense on April 9, 2023, around 12:40 p.m. at 40 Street in Lagos State. The rest of that in the Metro page of the Punch. Jealous Lagos woman kills pregnant co-wife. Away from that to the sports pages of the Punch newspaper. Under 17 Afghan beat Morocco, Gusau tells Eaglet. Ahead of Wednesday's, that's today's second game against Morocco at the ongoing Under 17 Afghan in Algeria, President Nigeria Football Federation Ibrahim Gusau has charged the Golden Eaglet to go for a win as they beat to book an early spot to the tournament's quarterfinals and favor Daniel's 76th-minute striker under the five-time world champions. All 3 points against Zambia in their opening group game at the Stade Mohamed Hamlou on Sunday. Meanwhile, Morocco defeated South Africa 2-0 to go top of Group B on goals advantage over the Eaglet. During his visit to the team's camp in Constantine, Gusau, in company with NFF board member Ganiyu Maja Kodumi, the General Secretary, Dr. Mohamed Sanusi, told the team, and I quote, "Let me start by congratulating you on the victory over Zambia on Sunday. It was a tough game, but your quality showed in your ability to pick the 3 points. However, nothing has been won yet. You must go all out against Morocco to achieve victory and bounce back to the top of the group." Under 17 Afghan beats Morocco, Gusau tells Eaglet from the sport pages of the Punch. Also from the sport page of the Punch, we have Usman Edwards eager for fourth title clash. Former UFC champion Kamaru Usman has said he would like to take on the unbeaten Khamzat next as he chases a fourth meeting with current welterweight King Leon Edwards. The Nigerian Nightmare lost his welterweight title to Edwards via fifth round KO in August 2022. Usman then tried to reclaim the title against Rocky in March 2023 in London. However, Edwards emerged victorious yet again, this time through a majority decision, leaving their rivalry at 2-1 in favor of the Briton. The rest of that from the sport pages of the Punch newspaper, which will be a last story right here, but not the least, of course, on Freshlight on Al-IyamoyeTv and radio. You see with the headline, Usman Edwards eager for fourth title clash. And that'll be all right here, where we draw the curtain of Freshlight on Al-IyamoyeTV and radio. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Al-IyamoyeTV and radio. Like, comment, subscribe, and also share the videos. Thank you so much for joining Freshlight on Al-IyamoyeTV and radio. My name is MODUPE. AKINYOSOYE. Do have a fantastic day.